Hello. My name is Kara Brown. I am an urban fantasy author, and I'm here today to do productivity writing sprints. And I'm a little thrown off my game because I had the stream set up for an hour from now, but then I got a heads up that it was going to start right now. And I did some troubleshooting on my end, and it turns out the laptop that I had adjusted the time on is in a different time zone, so that's why it's doing that. So ID 10 to error, totally my fault, but we're still going to progress onwards. So how these work is typically we work together. That's pretty much what it is. I host a stream. We work together in some kind of capacity for about 20 minutes, take a 10-minute break, work again, so on and so forth. And again, I'm a little frazzled because I literally found out at the last minute that this was not set up at the time it was supposed to. So I was kind of frantically moving over here on my side of the keyboard, trying to get things set up the way they were. Because normally I like to have my act together, but I guess today is just not that day. So we just roll with the punches and make it work, right? So now, as you can kind of see right here, I've got a banner. It says that today we are discussing how to create an editing plan. So what we will be talking about is creating editing plans for books or short stories, something in a form of literature. And I'm going to wait a couple more minutes for more folks to join us before I go ahead and get started on this. So it might take a couple minutes. And they're all probably still thinking that this will start in an hour. So whose fault is that? Again, it's mine. It's fine. So let's see. But I will say hello to a few folks. So Debbie came and joined us. Hello, Debbie. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really do appreciate it. Adega popped in and popped out. Good to see you. I hope that you are doing well, sir. And I think that will be it for just the time being. Oh, wait. There's one more. I got to wait for it to pop up on StreamYard. Haha. And Brandon's here. Hello, Brandon. Thank you for coming and watching today. I really did mean to have this set for an hour from now, but my laptop, for some reason, it's set like in a different time zone. So when I turned it to 2, it turned it into 2. It was weird. Anyway, so we won't have that mistake again. We'll have it start exactly when I want it to. Thank you for joining us. Oh, man. All right. So I think what I'll probably do is, let me see. Can I do that? Oh, yeah. See, this looks much better because this is much bigger than my face on the screen, and I am A-okay with that. I made a timer, guys, and it's not perfect. It's the second timer that I have made, but I just got really fed up with trying to find the timer that I want. And when you can't find what you want, you go make it, right? Like, that's just the world that we live in, or the world I like to live in. I can't speak for other people. Some people like to scream until somebody changes something. Not my jive. I'd rather just go do it myself. But, let's see. So the first question I would like to go ahead and propose to folks, again, we are talking about creating editing plans for literature and books and all that good stuff. So editing and eating an elephant have one thing in common, which is when you do it one bite at a time, right? So when you guys are thinking about how to create an editing plan, what is the very first thing that you take into account when you are in the process of self-editing your work? So we're not even talking about developmental editors or line editors or proofreaders. We're just talking about when you have to go and do that initial pass for yourself. So I will start so that way folks have a reference about what I'm kind of talking about. And the first thing that I look for when I have to self-edit my work, and this is really hard for me because I want to edit as I go, but the first thing I do is I look for continuity, right? Are people wearing the same color shirt that they were like one page ago? Did the eyes color change? Like I wrote a book and it got published and it made me a little bit of coin and it was nice. But I realized in the rereading of it that my character suddenly had a backpack that was never there before, right? Like stuff like that, right? Like little amateur things that should make us better writers. So for me, I look for continuity first. Sentence syntax, word choice, stuff like that. That's usually my second pass. I go through 3 passes of editing. Continuity is always my first one. Sio's here. Hello, Sio. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you are doing well. And you are just in time because I think I would like to go ahead and start this. So, sorry, message popped up on my screen. All right, so, okay, and also disclaimer, I haven't actually used this timer yet, so if there's like some kind of like anything with it, feel free to make fun of me. Give me feedback because, again, I'm going to make another one, and I would like it to be better than this one. So, and we are going to do sprints. Yep. Anybody else join while I'm waiting for that? Nope. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah. Okay, perfect. So this works out great. So again, we're going to work for 20 minutes and we're going to have 10-minute breaks just in case you weren't aware. And do I have the sound on is a question. Hopefully you guys can hear it. All right, so we'll go ahead and start this very first sprint in, okay, cool. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll see you guys in 20. Okay, so that was 20 minutes. Now we have our first 10-minute break. So far, this seems to be working out okay. So what I did during that sprint was actually I was working on my editing plan. So I was going through my manuscript and trying to find anything that was glaringly wrong, like things that I left to say that there was a scene gap or a transition problem. And I left my notes in the manuscript so that way I knew what I needed to do, but I also wrote it in here. Because I found out that if I don't make the editing to-do list as part of my general today to-do list, it doesn't get done. So that's what I'm doing. And so far, I think out of all of these chapters, chapter 17 is going to be probably my biggest pain in the butt. But, I love this book. I really want to put it out in the world next year. So I'm just going to endure the arduous editing experience and polish it and make it good. So... So we had a couple people join us. I said hello in the chat, but I want to say hello on the stream as well. So Marty came and joined us. Thank you so much. I appreciate you popping in. Mary also popped in with an answer to the question, which I will get to in just a second. And Rosalind is here. Hello, Rosalind. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate that. And during that sprint, Debbie worked on developing a character. So when you say developing a character, like, are you doing like the basic information, or are you trying to flesh it out and give them layers? Like what? I'm just curious because I love developing characters. Venom made it. Hello, Venom. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really do appreciate it. We are going to be talking about developing editing processes today. So the first question that I have up on here is, again, I'll just say it again. Editing and eating an elephant have one thing in common, which is that you do it one bite at a time, right? And what is the first thing that you do when self-editing your work? So I'll go ahead and read a couple of these answers because they are really good. So Mary says, this is a hard one for me because it's hard for me to separate the types of editing and proofreading. I mostly do all at the same time, but only because it's what I've gotten used to. I basically can't edit without proofreading and vice versa. And she says that comes with helping students writing research papers and essays. Yeah, I understand. I really do. And I guess like on that note, I don't think there's a wrong way to edit as long as you get it done, right? So I know some people can do it all in one chunk and some people like to do it in stages. I think I'm more of like a two-stage kind of person where I try to find the stuff that's glaringly wrong with the manuscript, and then I go back in and try and like care about things like, sentence syntax and making sure there's no echo phrases and stuff like that, because if I can't catch all that before I get it to the editor, it's going to cost me a little bit more. So CO says the first thing I do is a read through, jot down notes when it sounds clunky or I'm tripping over words, no grammatical stuff, big picture items like plot, character, and seating inconsistencies. That's fantastic. I approve. And then Mary said to that, I try to read through at least once, but I often slip in and out of grammar mode as I go. Yes. Rose says color code. So like, I guess I was just curious what you mean by color code. Like, are you color coding beats or are you color coding like adverbs? Like, what are you looking for? Because I'm definitely a fan of color coding. One thing that I do, and I found it kind of interesting, is you can put a macro into Word, right? And so what I did was I set up a macro where it would highlight all the dialogue. And the reason I did that is, one, to make sure that I had all my quotations in the right place, right? But the other reason I did it was because I wanted to catch where I was slipping into like being too descriptive, if you know what I mean. Because there's times and places for it. And for some reason, highlighting the dialogue like helped kind of like narrow that down for me. But it really depends on the book and the genre and the tone of that writing and all that. So, Venom's answer to the question is the first thing I do is read what I wrote before to stay in continuity. Oh, so what you did before? That's good. That's really good. There's there was who was it? I had it and it's gone. It'll come back. I'll remember it like at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'll like ping and wake up, and then I'll go put it on the community tab because that's how I am. Let's see. CEO says, I'm creating sticker decals for my work in progress character in Canva. Lazy Sunday vibes, but I'm still being creative. Oh, that's good though. I don't know about you guys, but like when I take time off work, that's when I sometimes get like my best ideas. Like the whole motivation for Roll D20 came when I took a day off. Like I just woke up and like the idea had latched onto me, and I was like, I have to write that book. And conveniently, the 10K book challenge that was kind of initiated by Tamara Wood, Sky Higgins, myself, along with Mama Ward, and a few other people who I cannot remember off the top of my head. I'm so sorry. Was right around the corner. So that gave me great incentive to go and do that challenge. And if you guys aren't aware, we did the challenge again last week. I don't know how everybody else's progress is. I finished mine on Friday. What I did was, it wasn't a book I wrote, but it was a 7-issue comic series that I did. Because I wanted to try and tell a story within 7 issues, and if I could do it, based off of what I've kind of learned already. And it's mostly there. It's not perfect. Like, I know it's got some growing pains it's going to have to go through, but I did it. So I'm like, yeah. All right. So we're getting close to starting another sprint. So let me be a responsible person and change my banners, because I didn't do that last time. Let's see. So the next question that we're going to have that we can consider is going to be, we all have the thing about editing that pushes us away. So what is your pain point with editing, right? And I'll go ahead and answer first, because it might as well. Oh, what's going on? No. Hold on, guys. I'm just doing it wrong. Open your files. Settle. Okay, I'm going to get that timer set up. So my pain point when it comes to editing is actually being impatient. I know that doesn't surprise any of you, but I get really impatient because the very first thing that I want to do when I finish my manuscript is I just want to send it to the editor, which is a guaranteed way to piss your editor off. Don't do that. So it's really hard for me to actually sit and go through the entire editing process, where I just kind of want to be like, blah, 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 and send it to them to review and have them tell me what to fix, which again is going to cost me money, because as you guys know, I have a lot of typos when I start rush editing. Or not rush editing, but rush drafting. So, and I also have, it's like I don't know, do you guys have this brain tick too? Because when I'll be fast drafting, and I mean to write, going to the store, right? When I'm in that phase, instead of writing, TO, I'll write TWO or something that sounds like it. Like, does anybody else do that, or is it just my weird brain? So, Sia asked me a question. Sia, what program do you use to draft? Scrivener, Google Docs, Word? I used to use Scrivener, but it has too many issues with switching hard drives, and now I'm stuck and tried to Google Docs. That was a great question. I will say I always go back to Google Docs. I have tried several different programs. I've tried a couple different cloud-based programs. I've tried a couple Scrivener killer programs, and I always end up going back to Google Docs. And the reason I keep going back to Google Docs is just because it's fluid, it's easy. Scrivener is just a thing that you put on your computer, and then that's it. Like, it's not attached to a cloud. You can't like work on it on your phone or anything like that, like I can with Google Docs sometimes. I will say though, for Roll D20, I did fast draft it in Scrivener, and the reason I did that was because I wanted to track my word count progress, because Google Docs won't do that unless you manually do it. And when I was in that phase of writing, the less I had to track data-wise made it easier to actually go in there and do that. And I could probably tweak that process and be a little easier, but I always go back to Google Docs, and the other program I usually end up leaning back towards is going to be Scrivener on occasion. So those two. But yeah, no, it's always that one. So I know there's another one I picked up. It's I don't remember the name of it. Like, I literally put my book in there to try it, and I think it's Living Word. Is that what it is? And I find out Living Writer. I was going to give Living Writer a shot because it's supposed to be like Scrivener, but on the cloud. But obviously I haven't put it through its paces yet, because here I am, right? So, all right. So that was the answer to that question. So, again, if you guys have a pain point with your editing process, feel free to share that, and then we can kind of discuss it when we come back from this next writing sprint. So, I'm enjoying this timer. This is nice. Okay. Let's see if I did this right, though. Aha, I did. All right, I'll see you guys in 20. All right, well, that was time. Feel free to share what you did, how you did, and all that goodness. I managed to make an editing to-do list up until the last 3 chapters, so, which is good, because then I'll have my editing plans for this book done, and then Roll D20 will be on schedule to be finished by the end of the month, and that is one more thing that I was trying to get done, so that makes me happy. Okay, so let's take a look. Nikki joined us. Hello, Nikki. Thank you so much for joining us today. And then I'm going to say Xena, but I know I'm saying it wrong. How do I pronounce your name, Miss Kingdom? But you joined us as well. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. Let's see. Well, while I wait for a couple of progresses to come in, I see a few folks answered the question during the sprint, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So CEO says, too easy for me. My pain point is knowing when to stop editing so I can do it to the point of insanity. I'm so critical of myself that I always feel like there's something that can be done better. I've heard a lot of different authors say that, and I remember that particularly on a panel that I went to, and I can't remember what the panel was for. It's back in 2014. But I went to one and they were talking about how at some point you have to stop editing it, and then even then you find like mistakes with it, right? So it's like, I don't know, it feels like I feel it, I really do. And I wonder if we always want to change things because like we learn and grow as writers, so we always want to go back to like our first babies, but I kind of like them as snapshots of where we were and how we, and how we've grown since then. But I guess that's me. Venom says, having to change details in a draft because I've written myself into a corner. Like, when you say a corner, do you mean like a plot hole, or do you mean like is there a scene that, can you define that better for me so I understand what you mean? Because my first thought is you found a plot hole and you don't know how to amend it, but I have been wrong before. Let's see. Mary says, my pain point is getting interrupted during the process and losing track of where I was going with my thoughts. Oh, yes, I know that very well. When 2020 happened and Mr. Brown was working at home with me, very, very wonderful, very loving man that would like to come and check on me throughout the day. And since I was not actually accustomed to him doing that, I would always lose my train of thought, which unfortunately sometimes resulted in me snapping at him a little bit. But I've grown and adapted since then because I've gotten used to us working at home, although now he works out in the workshop. So he mostly did that for himself because he wanted to have a separation of home and work. He didn't want to be in front of the same computer all day, which I understand because this guest room is my office. So, and then you're gonna come back with groceries. Zana. No, we're gonna go with Zana because I can at least say Zana. Thank you for clarifying that for me because I am very notoriously bad about pronouncing people's names, including my own. So, but you wrote 113 words in 9 minutes. Very nice. Perfect. I read a lot and looked at my writing, and I won't lie, there was at one point where like I literally left myself a note in the manuscript saying, I don't know what happens in between here and the next scene, good luck. And it's like, thanks, past me. Thanks. I see you were looking out for me. All right, Venom is clarifying for me. The plot hole example is a good example, but sometimes it's just tying up loose ends in a story, like not knowing what to do with a character or consequences for certain actions. Oh, that's fair. I've had that a couple of times. I was just thinking about a short story I finished earlier this year, and I remembered like my big hiccup was that something happened, but I didn't know how to progress forward with it. And I guess for me, and I can't say if you have the same experience, but like for me, it's when I can't trust the characters to behave accordingly, and like I need them to follow my plot, And I remember in that one scene, because it's a short story I want to come out in December under Faye Black, but there was like a really tense moment with Nia with her family gathering, and I did not know how to progress it forward because I knew the situation well. I mean, I've lived through it, But for that character, I didn't have enough confidence. And at the start of the year, I remember just sitting down and I was like, Nia will figure it out, right? So I just wrote and I didn't look back, and it ended up fleshing itself out really well. So I was pretty happy with that. Although I guess getting there was the hard part. Maybe it was a little bit of imposter syndrome or just not faith in myself as a writer. But I guess it would also depend on the consequences for the actions too, and what you have going on there. So, yeah, I think you have to get like really deep into that writing. All right, did I get everybody? I did. Good. I hate leaving y'all out, and I don't mean to if I do by accident. Did anybody else join when I wasn't looking? Indeed not. Perfect. All right, good. So let me see what else is going on here. I'm supposed to get my my manuscript back for Caro's Tarot pretty soon. My poor editor, guys, I have to tell you this. My poor editor has had the worst luck in like all of creation because she got COVID, right? And it got into her lungs, so she was in bed rest for a week. And then when she went to go do her checkup with the doctor, she fell when she was there. And so I don't even want to know what the legal battle of that would be. So she got sick. She fell down. She said she fell downstairs too, like the stairs at the hospital. And I was first off, I don't know a lot of hospitals that have stairs except at the front door. So, but I don't know where she lives and I haven't seen this hospital, so I don't really know. So sick, fell downstairs and then fell behind. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting these edits back, but what's probably going to happen is I'm going to get them and then I'm going to disappear off the face of the earth for like 24 hours as I do all the edits and then send it to the formatter because I need that book to come out on the 31st of this month. I do. Ranger, you're staying here. Ranger trying to break away. CO says I'm bad at names too, not pronouncing them, but remembering them, period. I used to give nicknames that would be helpful to me, but not everybody liked them. Nicknames, yep. I actually have a hard time remembering the names of people I don't like. And I have to really think about it. If somebody's asking me a question, like, I think last month somebody asked me about how so-and-so was doing, and I had completely forgotten who this person was. Like, my brain had decided, like, they were, like, not worth my internal hard drive space and just completely, like, reformatted them out. And so like I had to go and like remind myself about this person to the point where I've actually forgotten what their name is again. Like I think that's probably just a protective mechanism my brain does. Nikki says, I agree with the time thing where I'm so into editing that I have to stop when lost where my train of thought was before I'd have to take a break. Yeah, I think somebody mentioned like they take notes if they have to stop so that way they remember where they were. I get that for sure. All right, so we're about to start another one. So let me change this banner up. So we talked about a lot of things we didn't like about the writing process. So I figured now we could talk about things that we like about the editing process, right? Because we spend a lot of time, focusing on what we don't like, why it's arduous, why we seem to put ourselves through, why we purposely put ourselves through this and having to face like the imperfections of our writing, right? I think that's the hardest thing about it. So I wanted to switch gears and I wanted to focus on the one thing that we like about editing. And I think for me, it gives me a chance to kind of flesh things out that I wasn't able to do before. Like when I'm writing and I'm fast drafting, because I'm sure you guys are aware that I do a lot of fast drafting, I don't always give like scenes or descriptions the attention that they deserve because I tell myself future me will come back and fix it. So I really do appreciate when I'm going through the editing portion that I get to flesh out and kind of like, make them more colorful, add more descriptors to it in a way that I find appealing. It's my writing. It's all about me, right? Let's see. Oh, that's terrible about your editor, though. She sounds like she might be trapped in her own story world. Yes. But she's such a sweetheart. I absolutely love her. And I want to keep working with her. So I actually need to check in with her, I think, after today, make sure she's okay. So, oh, excuse me. I'm sleepy. Please forgive me. All right, so we've been streaming for an hour, so I think we have one, maybe two more sprints, and then that will be us for the day. And then Mr. Brown and I are going to go spend some quality spouse time together looking for Pokemon like you do. So, all right, so on that note, let's go ahead and start another 20 minutes, and I will check back in with you guys then. Okay, so we're not actually done, but that video is done. So I'm going to rewind us back just a hot minute here. Hold, please. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, it's lagging. Oh, that's not good. All right, well, while it's trying to find itself, Banu is here. Hello, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, perfect. Go. Okay, perfect. All right, so, okay. I managed to finish doing my editing outline in that 20 minutes. So now I can move on to completing the rest of my glorious checklist that I have here. I don't know if you guys knew, but my Hobonichi planner came in, and if you have a Hobonichi, you're about to scream at what I'm going to say, but I Frankensteined it with the one that I bought this year, the spring edition, so I just had all of it together. And you're not going to know when I'm using it, but if you're a person that likes to preserve their Hobonichis in their pristine state, then you'll know. But because I had so much going on and this is such an exciting time in my life, I knew that I just wanted to keep it all in one place. And so that's what I did. And one of the nice things is for my birthday, somebody got me like this bee duct tape, and I love bees, and I love a lot of things, but I especially love bees and this duct tape. So I've used it for pretty much everything that I'm not supposed to use it for. But yeah, so I love this thing so much. This was such a worthwhile purchase for me. All right, so I said to go ahead and define the one thing that you like about editing. So let's go ahead and go back and do that. Oh, I don't have the break banner in here. Hold on, get some water, stand, move around. Okay, and save your work. Every time I think I get my stuff together, y'all, I mess up one other way, but I'm getting there, one step at a time. All right, so anyway, oh, I guess if it doesn't tick, it doesn't go. Let's watch Caro get her life together. It's so much fun. All right, so the third question we had there was defining what you like about the editing process. So I am going to scroll up, and Nikki gave me a response. Thank you, Nikki. Nikki says that they like plot holes. It's so funny to read back on your writing and be like, how did I miss that? I got to fix that. Whoa, major plot hole or something up with the characters. Yeah, it is really nice when you catch those things, because when your readers catch those things, they're not quite nice about it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do like being able to catch my stuff and make sure it's good to go for sure. And then the news says, I just discovered I can edit on my Kindle. No, get out. Oh no. I'm gonna have to try this now. I'm not gonna do it right now. Okay, so I just discovered I can edit on my Kindle. Of course, it's just notes and colored markers, but it is great. Yeah, because I think the nice thing about editing on the Kindle is that it doesn't actually let you type, right? So you can't edit as you go. You have no choice but to read and like leave yourself notes. I think that's fantastic, and I really want to try it. Okay. Sorry, I'm like all excited about this. Oh, I'm such a nerd. And then Benu says, speaking of planners, did you remember those author productivity planners? I do, and they're retired. Do you know anything similar that is awesome? Do I know anything similar that is awesome? Well, let me take a quick look. But when you're saying the author planner, you're talking about like the ones that Tamara Wood used to use, right? Where it involved word count and all of that. Because that one, I'm not quite so sure. I can't believe they retired it. You would think that us as authors would be like buying up those planners like nobody's business. I will look into that for you, Benu, and see what I can find. Right now, I have switched to the Hobonichi Cousin, and that's what I use to track pretty much everything involving my life. In fact, if this thing goes missing, I'm going to set the world on fire. Like, that's just how important it is to me right now. Like, I really need it. All right, but I will come back. Let's see. CO says, editing my favorite part. Words are hard. Editing is my favorite part of the writing process. I like reading those gems that I wrote, whether it was the first or the final draft. When my own writing can make me laugh or cry, it's been a good day. I agree. There was a scene in Queen of Swords and Silence. It's not gonna let me highlight this. that when I wrote it, it made me kind of teary-eyed. So I was really happy that everybody else had the same, or not everybody, but other folks had the same reaction. Author productivity is retired. Thank you for supporting author productivity planners for self-published authors. Our planner is being kept organized since 2016. It was our final planner. As we shift gears here at headquarters, it's time to make room for more awesomeness to come. I have many questions. Let's take a look. The really thick ones meant for authors. Man, I can't believe it's gone. I mean, I didn't use it, so obviously I wasn't supporting the franchise, but it sounds like they might be doing something else in the works by that message. So, and then this one's 30 days. Ain't no way I would go through like 12 of those. Sorry, now I'm just kind of perusing. All right, anyway, Benu, I will look into that and get back to you. And then I think I talked about my favorite part of the editing process, which had to do with going back and fleshing out descriptors that I really wanted to flesh out. And I always think that's like the one thing with like fast drafting, is because you really are just trying to get the book out. You're not going to sit there and kind of like lament over, your sentence syntax and descriptors and the flowy words that you would like to use. You're just kind of like, I just need to get to the end of this chapter right now. And I don't know, I guess that comes with like pros and cons to it. I mean, this entire year has been nothing but me fast drafting manuscripts, because I wanted to get more stuff published, and you can't get stuff published if you don't have it written, right? So, like, literally, that's all I've been doing. I am planning to have, outside of Caro's Tarot, having a couple of short stories published at the end of the year. There was a book that Tamara is doing for Writer's Workshop that I read, and I won't be able to attend, unfortunately, but it was a really good book, and you guys should go to that panel and listen to the discussion, because they always got good stuff to say. But I found that book to be really useful. I'm pulling it up. Appreciate your patience, because it's taking me a hot minute. This is what happens when I'm not ready. Yeah, and if you guys want to get this book, just get it on the Kindle, because this thing is like really tiny, like very itty bitty in terms of a book. So it is called Short Story Romance Handbook, and it's by Hope Ford. So, and then again, Short Story Romance Handbook by Hope Ford. And I wanted to try what she does in here, because she basically publishes a short story like a week, right? And I said short story, so she publishes it a week. And I just wanted to give it a shot and see if it worked for me too, because sometimes things that people do that are very successful for them don't always transfer over very well for other folks. But yeah, so Tamara's going to talk about it in the Writer's Workshop on the last Saturday of the month at 2 p.m. Is it 2 p.m.? I don't remember the time off the top of my head. But last Saturday of the month, they're going to talk about it. And, thank you for putting the link in there. I really appreciate that, Benu. Thank you. But yeah, so they're going to, I really wanted to try it. And since I've been fast drafting like nobody's business this entire year so far, I was like, I could probably crank out a couple short stories and see, like, I want to give it a test run of 3 months and see how it goes. Because there's no way I'm going to sit here and make like 56 short stories. I mean, I could. I don't know if they would be of quality, but I want to make 13 short stories, and I want to release them in the way that she does, and see what it does. Like, does it make me money? Does it get me noticed? All the other stuff. But before I do any of that, I have to fix my Amazon author account, because that needs some TLC, and that means I have to call somebody and email and a couple other things. So, hashtag self-published author on Kindle problems. So watch them tell me that I should probably put it on Venom or Vellum. Is that what it's called, Vellum? I haven't even looked at that. I hear some folks talk about it, but I haven't tried it. I know Mama Ward does it. I know Tamara does it. I think Sky Higgins has done it. But I don't know who else has. Do any of you guys try it? I have no idea. Ugh. I don't know if I told you guys, but I finished that one goal that I had of running 5 miles at the end of September. I did that yesterday, and I'm really sore. I usually just ran like 2.5 miles, but I was like, no, we're just gonna run the 5 so I can check that box off on my to-do list. And I did it. I was very proud of myself. And now today I'm like, I have made mistakes. Oh, I should put the last question up. Wow, where'd it go? So the last question that we're going to have here is, how do you track your editing process? As in, how do you track what you do and how do you do it? Like, what's the method that you use to kind of keep yourself focused and on task while you are trying to do it? And since I waited until the last minute, I will give my answer at the end of 20 minutes. So I will see you guys in 20. Okay, so that is the end of the 4th sprint that we did. I managed to finish off the last few things. I've got 2 things left on this checklist for the day. One is putting away the dishes, and then the other one is moving my blog stuff over into the marketing planner, which I'm gonna have to figure out the best way to do that because I don't have a tried and true method at this point. Misty Kate came and joined us. Hello. So good to see you, and I feel really bad because we're about to end. But I am going to go over the answers for this question real quick because that's only fair, right? Which is, how do you track your editing process? Like, how do you keep it together? What do you do? And all of that. So, for example, I track my editing process by giving myself a to-do list like you guys saw me making today. But my big way of doing it is in the document itself. Like, so when I'm reading through, I'll highlight things or I'll leave myself comments or anything like that. And I know it's done when there's nothing left, right? Like, it's just done. And the nice thing about Google Docs and Word is it will take you to the next comment. So that's the best way to know that you have finished it. So that is me, but there are other people who have different ways that are probably more effective than mine. So Nikki says, I have paper copy and a copy on my computer. Oh, so you do them both at the same time? That's what you do? That's pretty good. CEO says, big picture items on screen, inconsistencies and redundancies in print, grammar, audio software. Oh, that's your phases, so you do it in 3 phases. Use Google Doc comments, features, and share buttons for betas. And new draft is a new copy. Oh, yeah. No, that's perfect. I love that. That totally jives with me and everything that I love to do. That the speech software thing, guys, is like absolutely like, it is a must-have step in Carolland, because if it sounds really awkward when the text-to-speech voice says it, like it's definitely going to read kind of funny too. So, and what I'll do with that is I'll actually have it playing on one screen while I do something else, and then like because it will really stick out with me because I will get into the habit of trying to read ahead of the machine a little bit. So, I absolutely love that. I also love this one too. They're both beautiful. Sorry, I just gushed about the Google Doc stuff a little bit. All good suggestions. Yes, everybody's got good things. Okay, so unless somebody else has something else to say, there's a Pokemon event going on, and I need to put shoes on and join Mr. Man so we can go chase down these Pokemon and capture them. So thank you guys so much for coming and joining me for this 2 hours. I'm sorry about the time mix-up. It will not happen again, but we will be sticking to Sunday afternoons going forward just because, for those of you who aren't aware, I do work 2 jobs, and unfortunately trying to block out 2 hours at a time multiple times a week has gotten to the point where that's not realistic. So I am moving my streams to Sunday because that seems to be the time when nobody really needs me. So keep fingers crossed. Granted, I say that Brandon's in the chat. He'll find some reason to put me to work. I know it. And I got a video coming out tomorrow as well if you guys are interested. It's about friending rejection as an author. So it's about basically all the rejection that you're going to encounter while you're an author, whether it be traditional or independent. But I do talk about the traditional barriers just a little bit and how to navigate through that if you guys are interested. So, but that is going to be me. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will talk to you all real soon. So be safe and be happy. Hitting the right button. I did.